Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Hey there, hi there, ho there. This is RHJunior, RHJunior Reality Check, coming to you live over the internet through a series of tubes known as the boob tube called YouTube, bringing you another broadcast of everybody's favorite show, certainly my favorite show, Spleen Squeezins. Yeah, and just to comply with all the new laws, new pointless laws they've written, no, this show isn't for kiddies. Yes, social manipulating snowflakes. Oh, this is the new thing. This is the new thing. They've got new policies in place on YouTube that in order to be in compliance with the what do they call it? What do they call it? The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Basically, picture, if you will, the entire government trying to act like a fussy mom, running around with baby wipes, wiping off their little children's precious fingers before they, if they play in the mud, we're obliged to tell us if your live stream is made for kids. Yeah, and I've looked over the setup. I've set it, not for kids, which implies that I'm doing porn on this thing or something. Makes it sound like I'm doing something really, gruesome and salacious on this channel. If I was, my ratings would be better. But these chuckle monkeys are basically set up. This is the kicker. If you admit, if you mark your channel as made for kids. Now I'm wondering if they're going to make a distinction between safe for kids and made for kids, because they don't seem to be making a distinction. If you mark your channel as made for kids, they shut down your chat room. They shut down they shut down several features that are including ad revenue for for your channel. And I'm like, oh crap, this is going to shaft anybody who tries to make for children content on their shows. It's going to make it incredibly difficult for them to. And I'm like, this is the exact opposite of what they want. The exact opposite of what they want. So this is why they're doing it, because they're idiots. The world is run, asses rule the masses, and the world is run by fools. Yeah, the corporations of the United States, in their greed and lust for the Chinese market, have started importing Chinese censorship to these shores. Just what we all needed. Thank you so much, Richard Nixon. Screw you, wherever you are. You just shafted it. Nixon shafted this country. I swear, I think that I'm starting to wonder if the Nixon administration and his era, if it wasn't just, if I can't have it, nobody can, and so he pulled the pin on everything. Yeah, I'm blaming Nixon for everything. Let's see. During the Nixon administration, they took us off the gold standard and put us on fiat currency. That is a death sentence. For any economy. It's within living memory that we have the grandest example of what fiat currency does to an economy. The Weimar Republic of Germany. It was the economic collapse of their fiat currency that contributed to the rise of Hitler in World War II. And it's going to be 1,000 times worse because this time around it's not some just one European country. It's pretty much the whole world is sky hooked their economy to the American dollar. If the American dollar goes kablooey, it's well, when is a more accurate word. When the economy goes kablooey, and also Nixon, he couldn't make it. Didn't know whether he wanted to shit or get off the pot when it came to Vietnam. Then there was the fact that Nixon, he also, uh, oh well, we could go on forever, but Nixon got us into China, got us economically intertangled with China. Biggest mistake in the world. If America had looked at China and said, "Nah, we're not gonna, we're not gonna go into trade with you," more than likely, the Communist Party in China would have collapsed, like it did in the Soviet Union. And you wouldn't see these poor bastards in you would see these poor bastards in Hong Kong running around with gas masks and wiping tear gas out of each other's faces, and and bandaging burns from police canisters off their backs. It's, no. Nixon. Thank you, boomers. Thank you so much. It was that generation it was the Nixon era that brought in, that lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. Just what we needed. Even younger and stupider voters. That's what we needed. Look, I have a basic policy. I think that in any country, voting should be a privilege, not a right. In the sense that we use the word today, use the word privilege today. But we'll talk about privilege, quote unquote, in a little bit. But economically speaking, no, socially speaking, voting should be regarded as an honor, not as a right for little spoiled children to demand. The people who vote should be the ones, the voting populace should be the populace that has an investment in the society that they are voting on. This is why you don't have outsiders. This is why you don't have people from down, three counties over come over and vote on your city mayor, because they're not citizens, not citizens of that city, and then and they're not, and they do not have a vested interest. That was the idea. That's the reason that only landowners could vote in the origin when we originally started the country, because landowners had a immobile vested interest in the welfare and well-being of the area they lived in. The people that don't have the people that don't have a stake in society should not have a vote in society. People who are obviously non-compos mentis, not competent to vote. We don't let little 3-year-olds vote on who's going to be president for this reason. Just to get everybody's feathers in a ruffle. It used to be that was one of the arguments against letting women vote originally. The question was whether women were competent to vote. You know, but that didn't invalidate the argument that only the competent should vote. Unfortunately, we took it the wrong way in our society. You say that women aren't competent to vote. Well, then we'll give the vote to every incompetent. And now we've got people going out trying to get the mentally retarded out to the voting booth, and trying to give the vote to convicted felons. I mean, if you have somebody who is if the vote's only supposed to go to people who have a stake in society, what does that say about giving the vote to people who have a stake in tearing that society down? You know, it's completely backwards. But again, I'm drifting off topic. We lower the vote. The vote should be at least 20 to 25. I think it should be about 25. Why 25? Because of the social choices we have made. We have decided we've decided to prolong childhood and adolescence as long as our society possibly can. We have turned the 4 years of college have basically become an extension of the party young attitude. I mean, we've got people out there who rate uh, that rate college campuses by which ones are the best party campuses. That's sad. That's pathetic. That's tragic. But it's a mark of our society. We've tried to prolong childhood and adolescence as long as we possibly can, and the result is we've got people who are in their 20s who don't know how to wipe their own behinds. They're coming out of but if that's going to be the case, the voting age should be at least 25, because by that point, by the age of 25, most people most people will have at least spent a year or two, working on their own, living on their own, having to pay rent, having to pay taxes, and basically having to be a responsible, self-sufficient adult to some extent. 18-year-olds are still begging their parents for the car keys. No! These people should not be voting. We lowered it. We lowered the voting age on the. We lowered the voting age on the grounds that we were sending 18-year-olds off to war, which is appalling. Especially as we were sending them off to an undeclared war. Oh, pardon me, Vietnamese police action as military advisors. They were coming home in body bags. Yes, my beliefs about Vietnam are actually nuanced. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, they lowered it on the principle that if they're old enough to die for their country, they ought to be at least allowed to vote, and give the people who are sending them off to get blown away something to worry about at the ballot box. I gotta agree with that. Hey, if I'm old enough to fight, I'm old enough to vote. It doesn't have anything. Defending your country doesn't have anything to do with your right to vote. Like it doesn't? Since when? Since when? If you're going to die for your country, for its beliefs, for its values, for its constitution, for its president, you'd better danged well have a say in how it's run. That's the bare minimum requirement for a just society. That you don't expect other people to die for your values. When you're not willing to, but they went around it backwards. Instead of raising the draft age, instead of eliminating the draft or at least raising the draft age to a more ethical level, they decided to lower the voting age. This did not make things better. You don't want a country run by teenagers. Trust me on this. I've got the next page set up for Tales of Questor to draw here. I'm looking at it. I don't want to work on it. I don't. I just look at it. I don't want to work on this. It's a kludge. It's a. Let me see. Window capture, and it's boring me to look at it. I hate looking. I hate it. I hate it, and I hate looking at it. It's basically an info dump in comic form. I don't like it. I hate it. Delete layer. Okay, let's start over. Okay. Let's see. Okay, but where are the topics I've been thinking about lately? Is everything you look at, all the problems in our society? So many of our problems in our society come back to the infantilizing of our society. I'm not even sure that's a real word. Is that so much of our society is trying to infantilize itself. Trying to reduce everything to a childish level. What the we introduce the idea of higher education, college, and we send kids off for 4 to 8 years extra adolescence, basically, where they're still not responsible for themselves for another 4 years. We what just the rise of socialism. Basically, what is socialism? But everybody gets a cookie. That's why the young go for it so much. Yay! Everybody gets a cookie, free cookie. That's all it is. Political correctness is people running off to cry and throw a fit. Mommy, he said something that hurt my feelings. That's our society. And you look at the entertainment. Look at the entertainment. They want to buff off all the sharp edges and corners, and cover it in Nerf. Remove all the offensive parts. Just make it all nice and padded, and safe for a baby to teethe on. Look what they do to children's entertainment. They take they dumb it down. They make it dumber and dumber, and every successive generation is more candy floss than the one before it. Look what they did to the Thundercats. Remember that corny '80s cartoon? I didn't like the Thundercats because the Thundercats didn't look like cats. They didn't look like cat people. They looked like people who had been body painted to look like cats. They did not look like cats, and I still object to that on moral principles. And but it was they put some effort into it, but then they come up with Thundercats Ho. Uh, Fairly recently, it was just picture Thundercats done in the style of Adventure Time. And how many people are running around? Look at this. They're running around trying to convince each other that SpongeBob SquarePants was, sophisticated social commentary. That Thundercats Ho is brilliant satire, or that Teen Titans Go. Oh, good God, help me! I just they took something that was already meant for children and dumbed it down more. And they're reportedly doing the same thing with My Little Pony. God help us. The heads are even the head. I've seen the new art style. Their heads are now bigger than the entire rest of their bodies, and it's just infantilized. It's horrible. And look at Adventure Time. I'm going to get in trouble with all the people who are fans of Adventure Time. But unless you were 6 year olds, or it was marketed for two audiences, 6 year olds and the stoned. Okay, let's be honest here. It wasn't meant to be sophisticated television. Look what they were producing for children. Remember Teletubbies? That's the level, and it's horrifying. I've watched some of the more recent Sesame Street bits of Sesame Street, and they've actually dumbed down Sesame Street. Our entire society is pushing and pushing and pushing to reduce everybody to the level of a pablum spewing baby. Abba dabba 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 dabba. They want our society has been taken over by people whose formative years were spent growing up in a nursing, in a nursery, run by a daycare center, and their entire life's goal is to turn the entire world into a nursery. You want to talk embarrassing? Look. I've seen Rick and Morty. No, it's not intellectual. Quit kidding yourselves. The Simpsons is not cerebral. Futurama is not genius food, and and Rick and Morty is not an intellectual show. Please stop kidding yourself. It's a Saturday morning. It's 9:30 in the morning. It's 9:26 according to my clock. But accuracy means nothing anymore. Uh, I can't. News flash. They finally the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They updated the CGI. They fixed the CGI so Sonic the Hedgehog no longer looks like nightmare fuel. And everybody's running around patting themselves. Oh, we showed them, we got them. If you don't think, no, let me disappoint you. Let me pee in your cornflakes a little here. You, you, you you pretty much didn't change anything. What you did is that you got a quick peek, a sneak peek, early in the development cycle of a movie. A movie goes through round after round after round of make and remake and rewrite and rewrite and reshooting miles of footage and uh, they gave you an early they gave you an early sneak peek of the early models of how Sonic was going to look. They are even now probably filming the last few scenes in this movie. Okay, they haven't even finished the damn thing. And what you did is that you reacted exactly the way they predicted you would. You saw the hideous stage one effort, and you freaked. And you spent all these months freaking about how hideous this Sonic CGI 1.0 looked. All right, you freaked, and now they've come out with 2.0, and you're like, yay, we won. And you've never noticed that the script looks idiotic. Rule number one, if the special effects mean nothing. If the movie story sucks, nothing you do with CGI is going to save it. And quite frankly, the few clips I've seen of the new trailers, it looks idiotic. It looks about like the same writing quality as Hop. Remember Hop? It came out a couple of years ago around Easter, where a guy gets recruited by the Easter Bunny to take his place. It was terrible. The writing was horrible. The story was awful. It was cringe-worthy. I kid you not. Because they don't know how to write these movies. They don't. When they put a cartoon character in with ever since Who Framed Roger Rabbit, ever since Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out, this is just basically that trend, that genre almost, where they put an animated character in with a live human being, and they don't know how to do it. The people that do it don't know how to do it. You see, the thing that they've been imitating that, they've been trying to, hit the magic formula that Who Framed Roger Rabbit did ever since Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What they don't understand is that what made Who Framed Roger Rabbit so successful is because you had a normal human being, not just a real footage human being, a normal human being next to a wild, wacky animated character. And the contrast between the two personalities, this fish out of water story, and the contrast between the two characters is what made it work. But the problem is that almost everybody who does this, where they have a CGI character or a cartoon character filmed next, around a bunch of real human beings, they always have the real human beings act as goofy, weird, and stupid as the animated characters, missing the whole point of the style. The human world is basically supposed to be the straight man to the animated character. But when the live human beings act as weird and goofy and hyper as the animated character, it just makes the whole thing look stupid. It makes the whole thing cringeworthy. Now I don't know if anybody gets this. I mean, and this looks like they're doing the same thing. That the live human character, the police officer, is going to be acting as abnormal as Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, I'll give them a pass on having Dr. Robotnik. They've got what's his name? What's the name of the Jim Carrey playing the role of Dr. Robotnik, and that guy is a human cartoon anyway, so that's his thing. He's like a slightly more hostile Robin Williams. So okay. I'm looking through some notifications I just received over. I'm slowly posting all my stories to two or three different forums. I'm trying to increase traffic, basically. The more people I have reading my fan fictions, the more people will trickle over to read my comics, and hopefully, the more will drift over to. Pardon. No, I'm gonna do not save it. I'll go back with the original ID. I'll just go with that. But it's. I gotta apologize to y'all. Well, I don't know if it makes any difference anymore. Cause I think winter is. I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know what to think anymore. Cause I feel like I've been drained. I feel like my battery. Like I feel like I'm out of everything. I used to have. I used to have so many ideas, so many, I just bubbling over with ideas for comic strips. And it's like everything else, it's like anymore, I've got nothing left. And the few ideas I have, just, zero enthusiasm for me. No spark. I'm just I'm just out of sorts, and I'm never going to. I'm starting to wonder if I'm ever going to get back into sorts. I'm going to try and run an all-day marathon. I figure if I run it long enough, I'll eventually create something. I can't. I'm sorry. Never mind. Just to I don't know. Just ignore the angsty man in the corner. Layer, new layer. I don't know why and it doesn't help that my hands are getting shakier as I get older either. I'm just I feel I drawing this is depressing me because I'm looking at this and I'm going, I used to be able to snap these things out. I feel like an athlete past his prime. I'm having to draw this with the mouse right now because my left hand is not steady anymore. Just the tiniest little thing. Some days some days it's real bad. Some days it's real bad. It's you know it's just. I'm so angry with myself, and I'm so frustrated with myself. This is what it is to grow old. Your body falls apart, and your hands aren't steady enough to do the work you used to, and and you look out at the world, and people are, and everything that you loved, and even many of the things that you gave huge portions of your life to making, are being destroyed. People are just out there tearing it down. You get to watch everything that you loved slowly get ruined. That's the lament. That's what you see more and more of when you watch YouTube and watch these people talking about people that were lifelong fans of Disney are just talking about how the parks are going to hell, and how the shows are, how the movies are, a disaster, and it's like anymore that if you're a fan and you want to talk about the thing you're a fan of, you're basically going to end up talking about how it's being ruined now. And no, this isn't just this isn't a joke I'm making here. I'm dead serious. I mean, and they are being ruined. The work being done by the current generation of artists is substandard. The the people running the business and the corporations are making decisions that are making everybody that grew up with the franchises going, "What the hell are you doing?" Uh, they're not progressing. They're not making progress. They're just making changes for the sake of making changes, and making bad ones. Objectively bad ones. I mean, you want the big example. Take Teen Titans and compare it to Teen Titans Go. And even the cartoon, originally Teen Titans was a step down from the original comic book. But Teen Titans Go is horrible. You look at the original Thundercats cartoon. Look, Thundercats Ho. You look at you go out and you look at the original Star Wars trilogy, and then you look at the Star Wars prequels, and then you look at the dog's breakfast they're making now of the final trilogy. It's tragedy. I have no problem with progress. I have no problem with change. What I have a problem with is bad change. And most of the changes we're seeing are bad. Objectively so. Horribly so. I think there's a lot to be said for progress. I mean, I'm one of the first ones in the front lines when I talk about old people complaining about young people using cell phones all the time and all that foolishness. Every other week, there's some other boomer cartoonist coming out where some old person is showing a kid a book and says, "See, you don't need to charge it or anything." Yeah, oh, aren't you clever, Granny? How dumb do you have to be to think that there is some sort of innate virtue to the material used? This is printed on paper. That makes it superior. You want to know why bookstores died? It isn't because the future generation is illiterate. It's because the damn books cost $10 for a paperback. Not even worth the paper it's printed on. I can go out, I go online. I can read 100 books. I read as much as I ever did. I was a library junkie as a kid growing up, man. I practically lived there. I loved books. I read tons of books. I read as much as I ever did. More. It's just I just don't sit down with a handful of dead tree to do it. I can't help wondering if there weren't idiots out there doing the same thing with candles when the first light bulbs were invented. Oh, you won't see me, finding my way in the dark with one of those newfangled one of those newfangled, electric lamps. The only real light comes from a candle or an oil lamp. Yeah, that was real light. I am actively starting to hate this page. I really am, because I know it's going to take me hours and hours and hours to draw, and it's not even going to amount to a minute's reading for anybody. I'll keep slogging forward. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody watching? Am I alone? Believe me, there are other things I'd much rather be doing, and just I'm lazy. So there are other things I'd much rather be doing. Like what? Nothing. I don't enjoy drawing these anymore. I don't. And I don't know why. I don't know where my love of my creations has gone. I don't know where the love went. I don't know what happened. It's a hard question. It's a hard question. I don't know what's left of me. I don't know what it is. Am I going through midlife crisis? It's menopause. I don't know. Uh, No, 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 no. I remember them talking, is there such a thing as male menopause? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe my testosterone is low. It could be that. I'm supposed to be at that age. It's pissing me off. I feel like I'm going through the motions and not just. I've made an appointment with my doctor for Tuesday. I called my insurance company to ask for transportation. It's supposed to be covered by my Medicaid. And I'm fully expecting them to pull up here with a vehicle that I cannot fit in. And I'm going to have to cancel my appointment, and I'm going to have to cancel the transport, and start all over again. And no matter what I tell them, they exert exactly zero effort in trying to find transportation for somebody who's physically disabled. I'm not in a wheelchair. Since I'm not in a wheelchair, I'm not considered disabled. My God, I couldn't even fit a wheelchair in this place. I couldn't even fit my fat mutated self into a wheelchair. Mm. The main reason it, for those of you who are wondering about, no, it's canonical. It's in it's in the long script notes that dragons in the Questroverse, they're not natural. They're not part of the natural world. There's something that that exists that's imposed on it from the outside. And the main reason I came up with that is because looking at it, I sat down and I thought about it, and strictly speaking, from in the natural world, there would be no real place in a ecosystem for a dragon. We're talking about a creature that that starts fires, that defends itself with. We're talking about a gigantic predator, gigantic flying predator, who has a primary weapon. It consists of flame. Can you imagine what that's not a natural creature. That's an ecological catastrophe. And of course, according to most of the folklore, their blood and offal was toxic, or had other rather horrendous effects. Uh, Depending upon what legend you read, anyway. But, we're talking about a massive creature that that would produce, that would cause absolute devastation wherever it went. It just struck me that this the standard idea of a dragon is something that could not fit into the natural order of things. So I came up with the idea that the dragons weren't natural at all. That there are a lot of stories. Particularly when I was first starting out writing Tales of the Questor, it was about the time that there's a lot of movies coming about friendly dragons and noble dragons and heroic dragons. I decided to go old school. Back in medieval times, people did not have sentimental notions about dangerous animals. You can imagine what the people over in Kenya think of the environmentalists over here in America. Those people over there heard about, they heard about how all our tree hugger types started crying and wailing because some hunter killed a lion, and they're like, "Are these people nuts?" They sure as hell never give. They sure as hell didn't go out. These people do not go out and give the roaming lions in their territory, family friendly names. For them, lions are an actual problem, especially when especially when you get one that's gone rogue. See, once they get past a certain age, the male lions, especially if they get too old and they can't hunt, they look over here and they see human beings walking around thinking, slow moving and no bone, slow moving and no fur. Yummy. These people are out here, crying and weeping William because Larry the lion got his head blasted off. And the people that live in that area are going, "You assholes! That lion ate 3 of my children just last week." I'm feeling I'm not getting anything done this. I feel forget. I say that I feel and then I don't say anything. Sorry, my apologies. I just I really don't know what to think. I really don't know what to say. I, I'm feeling very frustrated right now. I'm very, very, very frustrated. My my uh, you've heard me talking about this so much, and you still tune in to listen. If you do, I've got to be the I've got to I must be actively repelling people. It's like my body and my brain are actively rebelling against me. I'm just I feel shorted out. I feel Have you ever exercised to the point you do pull-ups or chin-ups or sit-ups or something, and you reach a point where you can't do a single one more? Or have you ever I don't know. I'm searching for the words to describe it. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta go get fetch something here. I'll be right back. I'm back. Just getting. I've got a bunch of bananas, and I realize that they're finally getting ripe, and I better start eating them, or there'll be another wasted fruit. Um, trying to bandage my leg here. Just be a minute here. Um, We got nothing. I'm just. Oops, did I move something? No idea what that is. I'm looking at some of the stuff on my screen, and it's I don't know. I'm seeing a little red window on here, and it's I don't know what it's for. Ah, there we go. Well, live and learn. Trying to bandage up my leg here. It'll be just a minute. I don't know how loud that music is for you guys. It's not exactly telling me anything. So if it's too loud, please, sing out in the chat room. They really ought to put up a notice on PayPal uh, on Google and YouTube. They ought to put up a notice that says, "We're sorry, our moral principles have changed. They weren't making us enough money." Uh, I don't know if keeping my leg bandaged is actually doing any good or not. At least it's keeping dirt out of there. I don't know. My microphone headset keeps trying to turn itself up. I'll be sitting here doing something, and the next thing I know, top volume. You know, uh, everybody talks about Jim Carrey and how funny he is and how clever he is and all that other stuff. And I've seen, yeah, but I've seen personal interviews with him, and he comes across to me as kind of creepy. Just kind of, yeah. One of those people that you would want to sit at another table, you know, away from your children. Oh, something to change on a little notice here. Yeah, yeah. The generous donation came in the other day, so we're now up to 65. Okay, there we go. Well, this is nice. Quote. This is for the story I did as My Little Pony crossover with Worm, and you could never imagine two more disparate world settings. Let's put it that way. But this is from a commenter. This is Patched Up is her name. This is glorious. I love how Selly and Lulu are taking offense to the very existence of the shards, and I adore the characterizations. I've laughed so hard that I've cried. This story has me completely hooked. Thank you so much for sharing. Well, thank you very much, Patched Up. Uh, I need little morale boosters like that every now and then. I'll be honest. I think that's the only thing that keeps me alive sometimes. Okay, now let's see here. Let's see. CGI. I don't know.
Ah, where did everything go?
There we go. And that was not what.
That was not supposed to happen.
That's boring. We've done that a lot. Let's do that. Zippity doo dah. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody watching? Am I alone? How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? I don't know. Um, Here I am sitting here telling myself I was going to do an all day marathon. And I can't even bring myself to do a 2 hour one. I'm reaching a bad break-off point, I think. I don't know what's wrong with me, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm not sure I have the moral fiber to even try if I knew. I wish there was somebody out there listening right now, because it's the only thing that keeps me going is my audience, and I'm barely functional as it is. I don't know what's wrong with me, and I don't know how to fix it. So this is my life now. I don't feel anything anymore. Nothing motivates me. It's a strange state of being. I get up this is my routine. I wake up when I wake up and I come in here and I sit down in front of the computer and I just don't feel anything. I just I feel like and I go to myself. Okay, I'll take care of a few. I won't start drawing. I won't start working or drawing just yet. I'll just take care of a few other things on the internet while I'm, while my, muse wakes back up, and while my brain and my lymph glands and everything just gets moving again, and I go on and I go on and I go on, and the juices just don't never seem to start flowing, and forcing it doesn't seem to help either. Forcing myself to work on something, I just end up with scratchy crap. Not much I can, talking about my own life is depressing me. Talking about my own life is probably depressing you. So let's talk about anything else other than, how my life is going. Great. I haven't got anything to talk about. Let me think. In the news today, what's in the news today? Let's check it out. What does it say about me that I check Facebook for the latest news headlines? Oh, here's a headline that's just cutting edge. The TSA is a waste of money that doesn't save lives and might actually cost them. No frickin' duh. We've been telling you this ever since they installed the stupid system. I mean, the TSA is just a festering pustule on the transportation network of the American system. It's just terrible. From right from the start, they have never been any good at doing at doing their job. You'll have to excuse me. I am seriously distracted at the moment. Okay, I have got an audience of precisely one, me, right now. This is not panning out. I'll tell you what. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to come back again this evening. Hopefully, when there are more people to tune in. You all have a fun night of it, fun morning of it. Good night.